Hey, it's Aaron, Metal Theologian. Alright, here's what we're listening to right now. Fucking Zona morta. From Brazil, if I'm not super mistaken. Yeah. Totally Brazil address. And Portuguese writing on the back. Look at that, man. That's the kind of cover I kind of can't resist, you know? Yeah, there's like a late 80s one, maybe early 90s, something like that. Like enough that you can kind of hear it going on in there, you know? But it doesn't have like that sort of like classic Brazilian sound to it too, you know, that like a Vulcano or a Sarcophago do, you know? So I like this record a lot, man. I've been playing it a fair bit since it turned up. And it's kind of funny too, actually. You see the guy's names on there? The bass player's Fabrizio. It looks like he signed this one. You see that? Look how neat that handwriting is, man. That's not like a fucking, like autograph. That's like, hey, there's a little note from Fabrizio. I love that kind of shit, man. That's funny. I used to hate it when there was writing on my album covers. I still don't love it. It depends on what it is. But if it's something where there's like sort of, you know, a backstory that I have to like invent because I don't know what the actual backstory was, that kind of shit I can get behind, you know? Maybe I should do a video on just record covers that have writing on them. That'd probably be a fun one to do. Maybe I'll do that. So real quick, I want to step away from the metal for a second and hype this record a little bit. So our very own Louis Golden made another record. And look at that art, man. That is totally like a summer record. I hyped the first one, First Sharon is Karen, when it came out. I don't love the name, I'll just own that because that's how it is. But that's the name of the band. You can get it from his Bandcamp, but it's not expensive. And it comes with a little bonus inside that I'm not going to give away because it's kind of awesome and it's cool if you just get it. But yeah, this really reminds me of shit like The Mice or like Big Star and that sort of, you know, power pop stuff, you know? It's like the songwriting is pop, but the execution is like, you know, there's conviction, you know what I mean? And it's just really good, man. Like, it's an honor to know someone who, like, makes such good records. And it sucks, like, when you have friends who are in bands that suck. So in a way, it's kind of a relief, too, that Louis' shit is so good, you know? Like, I hear something I can, like, without, like, with my full chest, completely honestly say, this is fucking fantastic. But I'm going to throw it on for a bit so you can get a little bit of a vibe here. This is, not the kind of stuff I usually show on the channel, but it's not as far away from metal as the jazz is that I get into sometimes, so... And shit, I have a Lafayette Afro Rock band here, record here that I was going to show, so... What the hell, right? Look at that, man. It's on splattered vinyl. And the center label looks really cool. Let's let this go for a few minutes, man, so you can get the idea. If you're one of the guys who only listens to metal, this probably isn't going to do a damn thing for you. But if you listen to like other rock shit, this is just like solid shit, man. And I'll tell you, just like I always say with metal, the most important thing is the songs. And this really delivers on the songs. Like you listen to one of these songs once, and you're going to be humming it to yourself for the rest of the day, so... It's really good, man. You see what I mean about the vibe, though? It's kind of a pop vibe, but it's not like cloying pop. It's just like easy to listen to type of a pop vibe. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of the point of, you know, pop music, quote unquote, is like shit that isn't super challenging. You know what I mean? Like Voivod or you know, Albert Eiler. Like not everything has to be challenging. You know, not everyone has to be Milford Graves. You know. Yeah, not my standard fare, man, but I really like this stuff. I really appreciate it, you know? And it's really personal, too, man. Like, when he sent it to me, I was in a little bit of a funk, and I was like, you know something, man? He was like, asked me what I thought of it, and I was like, man, you know something? I haven't even cracked it open yet, because, like, I want to wait until I'm in the right headspace where I can enjoy it, as opposed to just feeling, like, overwhelmed by it, you know what I mean? Yeah, while we're going for it, actually, I'll show in here real quick that I just feel like hyping just for the hell of it. I've talked about this record before, but I figure it's time to start doing a little bit about it, because the fact is, I'm a huge Deep Purple fan. I fucking love Deep Purple, but this is the worst live record of all time. The last concert in Japan, I'm totally, this is like very late, like this is, they were touring on Come Taste the Band, so even Richie Blackmore was gone and Tommy Bolin was in the band. And like, aside from the fact that the performance on this thing just kind of sucks generally, it feels kind of thrown together. The story with this one is that apparently Tommy Bolin, who was a big heroin addict, right? Like he did a bunch of heroin the night before or something like that and like slept on his arm like in some fucked up way. So his left hand was like totally like numb. So he couldn't really play guitar, you know? And on this record, you can hear not only Tommy Bolin sucking, but you can hear John Lord like on the keyboard, like trying to sort of fill in some of Tommy Bolin's parts. They sort of keep the shit together, you know, keep the train on the rails. That's just a fucking disaster, man. Like, I'm really surprised this ever got released. And I was even more surprised when I saw that it got a reissue a few years ago. Because this is really the worst live record ever. And I got this back in the 80s when I first got into Deep Purple, and I was like, man, this is fucking terrible. And I got rid of it again. I was all like pissed. But as time's gone on, I've become more of a sort of a connoisseur of bad records. I just felt like I needed to have the artifact here because this is just one of those things. It's especially with it being such a great, like, high-profile band, like, that they can bring a performance this shitty and press it on record, no less. I'm not sure what the lesson is there. Maybe just that it should be heartening that, like, even the mighty have feet of clay, right? That's a reference to the Book of Daniel, by the way, if you're interested in, like, where idioms come from. See how easy this is to enjoy? You know? I had a couple here. I was thinking about doing a one about like records that didn't have like picture sleeves, even though they were 12-inch records. And I found a couple I thought would be fun to talk about a little bit. So we're going to switch this up a little bit here. It's funny, this next one I'm going to show is by this band called Wanted. And it's not very well known, but you know, like a lot of the times the way like, you know, a record will be put on collectors' radars. So, and, you know, the way the shit that gets hyped starts to get the hype is like someone who like deals or, you know, is otherwise like involved sort of in music will like come across something and go, oh my God, this is great, and start hyping it to people. And of course, if that person has good taste, that'll catch on and sort of get out there. And this is one of those. If you're familiar with the guy behind Doomed Planet Records, I'm sure at least one of you knows about Doomed Planet. Yes, named for the Sirith Uncle song. Yeah, his name's Rob Preston, and he found this record, not the specific copy, but I just sort of came across this. Forgive me if I got the lore wrong, but like no one had heard of this band before, and he like found a few of these and went out and hyped it. And people like me said, well, if Rob likes it, that's probably at least worth a listen. And here we go, man, because this is good shit. It definitely has a little bit of a punk vibe, like a little bit beyond the point that I kind of like. You know, like there's some punk in like most thrash, right? This isn't so much thrashy, but it kind of has some of that punk going on in the vocals. More on side 2 than on side 1, and we're probably not going to play the whole thing. But overall, man, it's a solid record. And even now, even though it's been 20 years since this thing got dug out, it's still super obscure. It probably doesn't help it that it's like 1992 or something. It's pretty late. Like if you go on Discogs or something like that, you're not gonna find a copy for $5, you know what I mean? But it's not like one of like the mega sort of multi-$100 like metal records, you know? And it's just plain old black sleeve, you know? Actually, I just thought of another one I might as well show while I'm at it. Ugh. Yeah, I have another one by a band called Rare Breed that I left on the shelf, but let's go through a couple of these here. What's cool about that whole thing, though, and kind of the point of my telling that story, is that you can still find shit. There's so much stuff, you know what I mean? Sometimes just come across something, go, I have no idea what the hell this is, and then you put it on and go, shit, man, this is great. Actually, here's an example of that. I saw a review of this on the Curiosities website. I found a copy for $10, so I was like, what the hell, I'll roll the dice, you know? Rosie, Precious Metal. Not exactly a tough name, you know? And even though they're like rocks on the cover and shit with the flowers, it's still not exactly like radiating heaviness, you know? So these guys are from Columbus, 1982. This record is not a total glam record. It's really pretty rockin'. It's not the heaviest thing ever, but it's way better than what you would expect Rosie to sound like, you know? And I didn't know this thing existed 2 months ago, you know? And here it is. Like I said, it was cheap. That's a cool record to play. Like, it kind of reminds me of early Crew, but more like Merry-Go-Round than Livewire. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not as heavy as the Crew were at their heaviest, but they're not as just fucking, like, cloyingly corny as that era of the Crew was at their worst, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's funny, when I'm talking about Motley Crue, I'm really only talking about the first 2 albums. Because Theater of Pain was a big fucking turd. And after that, when they started doing the blues rock thing, like Great White and all those other fucking bands I didn't care about with Dr. Feelgood, I just didn't really give a shit. Girls, 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 I thought was kind of dumb, you know? So yeah, so maybe this is my contribution back. This is the cheap one that I'm hyping now. But you'll have to find your own copy. I didn't come across a big stash. But isn't this cool? And for something you just sort of came across, you know, it's awesome. I'm kind of fascinated by the whole phenomenon of like these bands where they like didn't even have a budget for a sleeve, you know. And here's another one I'll show in a minute. This is Full Tilt. You can see they just like had a big rubber stamp, which wasn't a big ass rubber stamp, but they just stamped the shit out of a bunch of these and released their record like that, you know. So I'll fire that guy up for a minute, and we'll see what we think it sounds like. I know I like it. But I'm pretty easy to please too. I mean, just being honest, you know. Yeah, this record is like 1990, and the kind of metal it is almost feels anachronistic. But I can't really quite nail down like where, at least I haven't yet, you know? It's not as thrashy as I would expect a record to be coming out of like 1990. You know? Like 1990-ish, I expect shit like Defiance, not shit like, I mean, Full Tilt, you know? That cop siren, that was the record, not like outside your house, so you can relax. If you hear it again now, hide. Yeah, here's another one to talk about actually while we're letting this go for a minute. So in the last video I talked about how I sort of rediscovered violence. I was like really enjoying their shit. I actually found this, it's pretty clearly a questionable reissue of this shit. Someone in Australia had it, but it was cool for me to get a hold of a copy of Oppressing the Masses on record without spending like $300 or whatever real ones cost. You know what's weird about this record? That actually annoys me a little bit if I'm honest. It has sort of a homemade feel in the jacket. But here's the funny thing. Like there's the not very well reproduced band photo on the back. Like if you look at the inner, That's what they look like now. Like Sean Killian is bald now, but like back then he had hair, you know? So it just seemed like kind of a weird choice as far as a layout. And they took the trouble to press it on the inside of the jacket too. You see that shit? Honestly, I kind of wish they hadn't done it because it kind of breaks the kayfabe a little bit, I feel like. You see what I mean about this, about a full tilt? Like, this is not like glam or that kind of shit that was petering out, you know? It's just like a really sort of honest, like, hard and heavy record that came out in 1990 instead of, like, at a time when more people would have been bothered listening to it, you know? Trying to keep straight what I showed and what I hadn't. Alright, so here's another one, man. This record's been a little bit of a thorn in my side, and that's principally due to Alan from Let's Talk Metal, because he loves this fucking record. He's hyped this record so many times. He's always been honest about the fact that it's kind of a crap record, okay? So salute to him for that, you know what I mean? I try to do that too. If I like a bad record, I'll tell you it's a bad record, and I'll tell you why I like it, but I'll still be honest about the fact that it's a bad record. And I feel like we kind of owe that to you. So Alan did that too, right? But the idea of a record being shitty is not at all like a deal breaker for me, you know what I mean? But this record I just thought was fucking lame, really until about 4 days ago. And that is Grudge, Barbarians of the New Earth. That's what it's called. Yeah, start second guessing myself. This is kind of weird anyway, because like that logo, there are a couple records on Grudge Records. In fact, I might have one here. Yeah, this Lords of the New Alliance, or Lords of the Crimson Alliance, sorry. It has a little Grudge logo right there, you see that? So I don't know what the relationship is between the label and the band, but they have the same logo, so it can't have been nothing, I figure, right? That Lords of the Crimson Alliance record is pretty fucking good, by the way. Anyway, this record is kind of shitty, alright? But like, I kind of dig it now. I feel like I finally get it with this record. It's kind of like, it's been this like catharsis for me to like finally get my head around this record. I had this record for a long fucking time. I bought this, I think I got this at the Record Man in San Mateo actually, when I was living in California. I know I didn't pay much for it. But you know, you look at it, they don't look super tough, but you know, they look tough enough. And the song titles like Vigilante, Alien Hunter, Barbarian Queen. You know, it sounds like it's playing in the right, you know, in the right playground, you know? And some other songs just didn't do it for me, but I've come around, man. So I might have more to say about this moving forward, because I'm going to listen to it a couple more times before I put it away. But yeah, I am not down on Grudge the way I was pretty recently, you know? So what do you think of Full Tilt? That's pretty good, right? I'll bump it to the next song just to give you a little bit more of a taste, and then I have another with sleeveless one here that will show up. See, it's almost like a new wave British heavy metal vibe. These guys are 10 years late for that, and they're American. Just played this one earlier today, by the way, too. Lest anyone think I don't listen to big shit. This record is so good, though, man. I didn't appreciate this one back in the day, because I wanted to hear Joey Belladonna. But I swear this is the Anthrax I reach for the most these days. Yeah, this is great, man. Like, if this had been a new wave of British heavy metal 45, it would have been an expensive one. Not that it was necessarily a cheap record, but anyway, good shit, man. Yeah, so the one that I got up to bust out a minute ago is Killing Asylum by Bishop Steele. Apparently these guys made a single too that I've never seen, but this EP is like 1991. So even later than Full Tilt. And as far as the sound goes, Bishop Steel definitely owes a little bit to Metallica. You'll hear that. Not as much as like, what's that Russian band called? Zhelezny Potok. Where they really kind of sound like they're just fucking copying Metallica all the way. That's funny, like the original sleeve that I got this in is kind of fucked up. Like I could change it, but that's the original one, so that's like one of these little like collector dilemmas that we deal with. I haven't played this one in a while, but Bishop Steel is really good, man. Something I got kind of a long time ago. I'm gonna grab the Russian one, just so you know what I'm talking about with the Metallica shit. Ugh. Yeah, these guys, man, you might recognize the cover if you're into Russian shit at all. Zhelezny Potok. And these guys really sound like they wanted to be Metallica. They made 2 records as far as I know. I only have this one. And I mean, it's not a bad record. It's a fun record, but when I'm going like, I feel like hearing something Russian. This isn't really the record I reach for most often, you know? You gotta love that art though, man. Here, pull it out. I mean, how good is that, you know? When I saw this, I certainly couldn't resist it. I was a little bit disappointed. It didn't really have me chomp at the bit to look for more Russian shit. This is actually filthy. I'm gonna put a new outer on it. Nice, let's put this one on as well, though. I'll get a new one for Bishop Steel. This one's going in the trash. I mentioned this one, man. Funky shit. This is a fantastic record, man. The Lafayette Afro Rock Band. This is a second record, Malik. That's just really good, man. It's funky, lots of horns, lots of instrumental stuff too. You know, and not really disco-y at all. I think it was like 74, 75, right in there. So yeah, if you're looking for like more like obscure like funk from the 70s, because you know there's more out there, you just like not don't know where to look. This is one place you ought to be looking, man. So here's another one I pulled out a couple of videos ago that I said I was going to listen to again. This Wizard record, Marlon Grog, Madman and the Bomb. I really didn't like this record when I got it. I thought it was kind of dog shit. I actually don't think it's bad now. It definitely has kind of a party metal vibe, sort of like Excalibur or Forgotten Child. I like those. Like, it kind of looks like it ought to be a little bit more serious than it kind of is. Oh, they do sort of fill you in with this fucking, like, the way they're writing their names and shit, like Grog with the smiley face. That kind of tells you they're not too serious. Plus that guy, right? Or this guy who kind of looks like what Bobby Liebling wished he looked like. It's not bad. Not buy or die, though, believe me. I'd go for Bishop Steel over Wizard any day of the week. For this Wizard, there are other Wizards that are great. That's one of those things, right? There's so many bands called Wizard, and of course I've got to hear them, because they're called Wizard, you know? But that's what they're trying to sell to me, then. That's what I want to hear. Pretty sure I called this my number 2 record of 1986, but Outbreak, Masterstroke. We're talking about that. I still love that Krieg is misspelled on the thing. Like war, but not really. And Kaiser Fist is one of the best singer names ever. So, awesome record, super heavy, noisy, lots of like sort of screaming and conviction, you know what I mean? And what tripped me out even more was when I finally got my hands with the Dissection album, the Canadian band, they repurposed some of these songs for that. I didn't even know it was the same guys. So they were playing like the opening song, and I was like, wait a minute, that's a cut-off fucking Masterstroke. Yeah. So these guys kind of had some like Nazi like looking shit going on, but they were fucking around. They weren't serious. This is not like an NSBM record or something like that, because I wouldn't be showing it if so. These guys were sort of using this shit the same way like the punk rockers had in the 70s. And maybe it hasn't aged well, but the record's aged very well because it's fucking excellent. Here's what I got recently. I talk about buying shit based on the cover a lot, but this is one I really just bought for the cover because I kind of had enough Laz Rocket albums, but I didn't have this one. This cover's so good, man. Something about that just does it for me. It's a cool record. I don't really need to hear them doing Holiday in Cambodia, but it doesn't spoil the record like I was kind of afraid it would, you know? So, pretty solid. Definitely thrashy, you know what I mean? It's interesting to hear how Laz Rocket kind of changed over the years. It sort of became heavier. In contrast with this band, fucking M16. I just got this. I would wear the shit out of that M16 t-shirt. But that said, this record is not that heavy. Like, if you look at this, you go, oh, it's called M16. There's a fucking skeleton on the cover, and they're holding the gun. Actually, he looks kind of hairy, too. See that shit? I don't know what's up with that. This strays surprisingly close to, like, AOR territory in places. It's 1988, so they knew what they were doing, I guess, from Schenectady. And yeah, it's kind of a cool record. I didn't like it for a long time, but now that I can sort of handle some wimpier shit, I think I can handle M16 okay. Still, though, not like the be-all, end-all when it comes to heavy metal. It's a lot more sort of like an also-ran, and kind of good for that kind of a mood, you know? It's late at night. I want to hear something that's like rocking, but not like really intensely rocking. M16's kind of good for that, you know? Let's see, what else they're going to show. You know, I pulled this one out. There's some people talking about this last week. The Satan Into the Future record. And you know, I don't love this thing. It feels a little bit, honestly, a little bit boring. Maybe I just need a couple more listens. But I'll tell you, I have this weird relationship with this band. I mean, I think the single, the Satan single, Kiss of Death, is one of the greatest fucking things ever. And I think the other two cuts that appear on Rock's Caliber, also fantastic. So like 4 great songs from the really early days. Then they did Court in the Act with Brian Ross in the band instead of the technically inferior but charismatic, well, maybe not charismatically, but sound-wise, I think superior Trev Robinson. And they put out, what's it called? Court in the Act. It's a lousy album title name, but that record's very good, but it took me several listens to get to that point, because it kind of felt like, maybe a little too strong to say it's up itself, but like they sort of had that level of ambition, and the substance wasn't all quite there. You know what I mean? I've come around on it. I enjoy that record. But like, there are a lot of people in the community who think, oh yeah, Court in the Act is fucking fantastic, and I'm kind of not in that camp. So recently I heard people talking about like some of the Satan from the later 80s, after more lineup changes and shit. Because that was kind of a thing. And then they became Pariah and Blind Fury and then Satan again and all sorts of weird shit. So I was like, you know, I haven't heard this one in a while. It's just an EP, so let's check it out. And I don't know, I'm going to listen to it a couple more times. But I wasn't as into it as I was hoping I would be, you know what I mean? I'll probably pull out Suspended Sentence again, too. This one, though, is fantastic. Kremator. And I don't know if this ever actually originally came out. This is like an Unseen Forces pressing. This might have been a tape-only release. But, like, if you think that the dude wearing a Voivod shirt is a good sign, you are not wrong. I'm actually going to put this on for just a minute. And then we'll let it go. Yeah, Bishop Steel really does it for me, man. And that Lonely Days song, that was the wimpiest thing on that record. So it was kind of smoking. So more of an understated kind of way. But if you can handle that, you can totally handle that record. It's funny how this collage thing, like, didn't just cross the Atlantic, but made it all the way to Russia. Yeah, this is just like sort of dark and mysterious sounding in the way that like a good Russian band ought to. It's definitely kind of thrashy, but not really deathy the way a lot of their contemporaries were in the early 90s or whenever it was. And I've been digging the fuck out of this record. I mean, first of all, dude, come on. If you watch this channel, you know I can't pass on a cover like that. You know? Not to mention a logo in Cyrillic. It's all intense like that. Look, they're considerate enough to actually like translate the song titles for us. Yeah, so again, I don't know if this was originally just a demo or what the deal was. $1989. Okay, it says it was originally released 1989 in reel format only. So, if unlike me you collect demos and like you have more compact cassettes that you don't feel like dealing with, or you have enough of those and like you need to dig deeper, you can start looking for reel-to-reel shit from what was still the Soviet Union at the time, apparently. I'm going to bump this ahead a little bit to give you a little bit of a vibe because we're at a half hour and I don't want to waste your whole day. Has that Slavic aggression, you know? I mean, come on, man. What's not to love? See this, and this cover is so good that like for the whole rest of the video I could just show bands that didn't have any covers, because this one fucking makes up for all of that. Alright, well that's what we've been listening to around here, man. So as always, thanks for watching. Totally appreciate it. Alright, and we'll see you next time.